Bo Fisher here, Fisher and Wiens Wealth Management. It's time for another update. We are in late summer 2017, and we've had a nice ride in the stock market so far this year. Now, what's interesting about the stock market this year so far is that the increase in value has really come from a very select few stocks. They're called the FANG stocks, F-A-N-G. That's Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google, which is now called Alphabet. FANG. What's interesting about those stocks is they're all tech stocks, very heavily into tech. So the NASDAQ, which is an index largely comprised of tech stocks, it's up almost 16% so far this year. The S&P 500, which is the 500 largest companies, weighted towards how large a company is, and the names I just mentioned are very large companies. The S&P 500 is up almost, or is right around 10% up so far this year. But what's interesting is if you look at a large part of the country and other companies, like the Russell 2000, which comprises 2,000 companies that are actually quite a bit smaller, that index is only up 2%. So you have these large companies that are doing really well, but you have thousands of companies not doing so well. And that makes us nervous when you look at an overall economy and how well the economy is doing when only a select few are doing well. Now we still have done well and made money, but it makes us nervous. But I also want to show you one of the questions I'm getting from a large part of my clients is what's happening and when's a recession going to happen? When is the downturn coming? People feel it. Now the reason I think people feel it is because of this chart. What I'm showing you now is the S&P 500 on a logarithmic scale on the y-axis. It's the last roughly 40 years on the stock market in the S&P 500. And what I'm going to add to this chart is when did recessions happen? And that's what this is. These gray lines are the recessions. If anybody's taken Economics 101, you learn two things very quickly. One, supply and demand. When supply is low and demand is high, prices go up. There's a direct correlation. Another thing you learn very quickly is business goes in cycles. There's expansion and then there's contraction, and expansion and contraction, and economies work in very similar ways. And so the chart shows you that during a white phase of this chart, it's an expansion time. A gray phase, it's a recession or a contraction time. And so as you can see, there's roughly an expansion of about 8 to 10 years, and then there's a contraction. And then there's an expansion for 8 to 10 years, and then a contraction, and so on, and so on, and so on. Well, last recession we had, 2007, 8, and 9, which means we're 8, 9 years removed from that recession. So are we due for another contraction? You bet. Is it coming for us? Yes. Is it going to happen this year? I don't know. But I know we're getting closer. And there's going to be a lot of talk about what started the recession or the contraction or the pullback in the markets. Maybe it's something that's going to happen politically. Maybe it's something that's going to happen with respect to a new war that's going to break out. I don't know what's going to happen, but that'll be just the spark. The reason that we have a recession or contraction, there could be a lot of reasons, but I believe it's just cyclical. And so we should expect that. So certainly in the next near future, we're going to be talking about what's happening and why the market's coming down. We're doing our best to try to position all of you, all of my clients, in a way that we can not minimize what's going to happen, but try to reduce the pain when that recession happens. Know that we're working hard on that and we're being very vigilant on your behalf. So if you want to talk about this, you want to talk about what's happened in the markets, the positive returns we had, maybe our view on what's going to be happening in the future, just give us a call, shoot me an email, or we can talk about it at our next meeting. But until then, enjoy what's left of the summer and certainly enjoy your families.